everybody. Welcome to the Art of Living Well podcast. I'm your host, Liv Hill, and I am thrilled to have you guys listening along per usual. Today, we're going to talk about repairing your relationship with food and how you know that you are making progress towards repairing your relationship with food, how you know that that is on the up and up. You're starting to see the light. Maybe you're already there. We're going to talk all about it. So we are just trucking right through summer. Thank you guys so much for listening, for sharing, for being part of this community. So as you guys know, my story, I lost 150 pounds 15 years ago, and you want to talk about just some, tumultuous stuff as far as repairing a relationship with food. It's really weird, guys. You can go from, I was close to 300 pounds, lost the 150, maintained it all. But through that process, I went from, eating everything and anything under the sun. You guys know that. I've shared that. It was Applebee's after church on Sunday night. It was biscuits and gravy on Saturday mornings. It was pizza. I mean, it was all the things all the time. Just eat for comfort. Just ate all the time. Had no regard, to the point where I will never forget this. It stood out to me that I had eaten an apple, and I said, man, I really want another apple. And I told my friend that, and she was like, well, eat an apple. And I was like, I've already had one today. And she just looked at me like, we're talking about an apple. We're talking about, Liv, eat you an apple, girlfriend. And I was like, man, I cannot. And so there were stories like that one really just burns in my memory, just the look on her face of perplexed. I'd lost all my weight. I had lost all my weight. I'd been successful, and just afraid to eat another apple because I was like, I don't know. And it was my lack of education around food, which is why I'm so passionate about sharing the education portion. I remember many, many times that I had an affinity for Chex Mix. I don't know. It was a big thing. And I had Chex Mix, and I would walk and eat it at the same time. So I was like, if I eat and walk, then maybe I can burn this food off while I'm eating it, while I'm indulging in the Chex Mix. So, it went from just total disregard for food, just eat whatever you want, to walking when eating something that was Chex Mix, to I'm afraid to eat an apple. So when I tell you guys that this girl has worked on her relationship with food, I have worked on my relationship with food for sure. Now I'm at a place where I feel like I have a really solid relationship with food. I feel very comfortable with food. I don't have much food noise at all, which is where you're thinking about food often. So we're going to talk about some ways for you to identify, if you are working on your relationship with food, how to know that that is starting to improve, how to know that you're getting to a good place with that. And also, if you are in a place where you're like, man, I'm on either one of those spectrums. I have no regard, and I'm just eating all the things, or I'm doing the other spectrum where it's like I'm really uncomfortable eating food. If you fall in either of these categories, we're definitely here to help you with that. That's part of the healing process with working on fitness, working on your mindset, working on your health. Because if you can get to a place where you have a really solid relationship with food, it's things are real. It's really just streets of gold. Streets of gold when you have a great relationship with your body and food. So let's get into it. One thing is, you eat food without guilt. So you'll eat something and you don't immediately feel guilty afterwards. You can have a cookie, you can have a Chex Mix without this spiral. You don't go into this spiral of shame or, oh man, promising to make up for it later. I can't tell you how many times I told that story to myself. I'll make up for it later. I know that I won't be hungry later. I'll eat this, and I'm not going to be hungry for the rest of the night. Lies. That was not true. So when you realize that you can eat without guilt, or you can eat without having to promise to make it up to yourself later, that is a way to know, hey, I've had a cookie. Cool, let's move on. That you don't feel guilty about those things. That's a way to know. Another is that you stop eating when you're full, even if there's food left. So I know several people grew up in a household where it was like, you need to eat all of your food. You need to clean your plate, the Clean Plate Club. I think that that's just years of how our parents and parents before that, it's just the way that folks were raised. And if you were raised in a house where it was like the Clean Your Plate Club, but now you're realizing, hey, I'm full. I don't have to eat all of this food. I can take some of it home. We can save leftovers for later. When you learn to trust your body instead of the clean plate club, that can be a huge green flag that says I'm moving in the right direction. Another way is that you don't have the labels for the good food or the bad food. So, I'm going to eat this, but it's so bad for me. We hear that all the time, like, oh, I really shouldn't be eating this. Oh, this is so bad for me. This is not good. I'm going to start my diet tomorrow. When you start seeing food as just food. And this again is where education comes in major, because then you can start taking food for what it is, not getting too lost in the weeds of this is a good food, this is a bad food. There's definitely a difference between foods that are more nutrient dense, that are going to keep you full, going to keep you satisfied, but it doesn't mean that it's a good food or a bad food. So when you can really find that, hey, there's not morals. My food doesn't have morals. It's not a good or a bad thing. That can start to be, again, one of those mindset shifts that it's like, okay, we're starting to move in the right direction. Another thing, this one is big. This one is really, really big, especially for all the ladies and gentlemen that grew up in like the sugar-free. You guys know the snack wells, everything sugar-free, everything low-fat, low sugar. Can't believe it's not butter spray, all of that. When you start to make choices on food based on how they're going to make you feel, not just what's on lowest in calories. So when you start to say, okay, what am I going to eat? You start looking at things objectively, and instead of saying, hey, what am I going to eat that's the lowest calorie thing here? And you start looking at it like, what am I going to eat based on how I feel? That is a place where it's like, okay, I'm starting to cross that bridge over there, because my mind doesn't immediately go to what's the lowest calorie thing that I can have here. It goes to what's going to make me full, what's going to make me satisfied, what's going to make me not feel bloated, what's going to give me energy, those types of things. When you can lean more into that and you start to see that you go to, a party, a buffet, and you start to think not just the lowest calorie, but what is going to give me energy and make me feel better, that is when you are starting to make some really, really solid progress on repairing your relationship with food. The other thing is you're okay with eating the same thing more than once. So you're not chasing this dopamine hit or this food excitement all of the time. So yeah, we all have things that we look forward to. We all have things that we love. We all have, hey, we're going on date night. We're going on a girls' night. We're going on a girls' trip. I'm looking forward. We're going to this vacation spot that I always have XYZ. You're cool with that. Like, you're like, yeah, I look forward to that. But on regular day-to-day, I don't need exciting food. I don't need a dopamine hit from eating ooey gooey, things that are not serving us as well. You're okay with eating the same things on repeat. It's like, yeah, food is food. I can eat this egg sandwich every morning for breakfast. It doesn't bother me. I don't need excitement in every single meal that I have. I don't need a dopamine hit from every single meal that I have. When you can get to that place, that's where you're repairing that relationship with food. Again, just going back to my story, we would go out to eat Mexican, and then I would want a McFlurry right after that, so it was like I needed that dopamine hit constantly, and I was always looking at food to give me that dopamine hit. And when you can then again pull away from that and just have some traditional meals, repeat meals, you're not looking for that dopamine hit every time that you go to eat. And when that happens and you're finding yourself repeating some meals, that's when you know that relationship is starting to repair. The big one, not the last one. The last one is the big one, but another big one is you don't feel the need to start over on Monday. So that is a more balanced mindset. So you've had the weekend, you've had, one or two extra things that you don't typically have. We get a little loose on the weekend. That's traditional. That's normal to do that. But like one weekend or one meal on the weekend doesn't just blow everything out of the water. You're not like, oh man, every Monday I got to start over. Every Monday. It's like when you're able to balance out the weekends, when you're able to have more moderation, when you're able to have more consistency across the board, Monday comes around and Monday is just Monday. And so you eat that repeat breakfast. You eat some things that don't bring you the dopamine hit that you need. You're okay with just, again, start layering these things together. You start realizing like, hey, I don't need, Monday's just Monday. Hey, Monday, how's it going? You're not in this total diet reset mentality. That shows that you are repairing your relationship with food. And the last one, the biggest one, is that this one is the big one. You think long term and no longer quick fixes. I can't tell you how many times that a client will send me a picture of like a Weight Watchers or something along those lines, and it's like an advertisement, and they're like, nope, I'm not falling for this again. Absolutely not. They're not looking for the next diet all the time. They're not looking for what can I do to detox? What can I do to have a cleanse of sorts? What they're doing is they're starting to think long term. They're starting to think, is the food that I'm eating now food that I enjoy, that I can continue to eat? Is this a lifestyle that I'm building? They really adapt that long-term approach, not that quick fix approach. And you guys know that, again, like with myself, going from the eating habits that I've described to moderation in eating now, that didn't happen overnight. I wasn't able to just say, hey, I'm going to quick fix my way down to lose 150 pounds. That doesn't work that way. And you might quick fix your way down to lose 150 pounds, but you don't quick fix your way down to keeping it off for 15 years. So what I had to learn was like, hey, this is a long haul. This is a change. This is a total mindset shift. And I've got to be in it. If I want to keep this off, I got to be in it for the long haul. And I want to be in it for the long haul. It is not miserable. There is nothing about my lifestyle that's miserable. There's foods that I love to enjoy. There's food, pizza, sushi, all of those things. But I learned through these processes on how to manage my relationship with food, how to heal my relationship with food. So as you're going back through these things, think about these things. Do you see some green flags coming up for yourself? Do you see that you are continuing to build on your relationship with food, that you continue to get better, and that you're finding some healing in that? And if you're not, guys, listen, again, afraid to eat an apple over here. If you're in a place where you are not there and you're like, man, I didn't, none of those, I'm not lining up with any of those. Liv, you mentioned all 7, and I got an F on all 7. Listen, I would have gotten an F on all 7, many, many years ago. But what I did is I asked for help, a lot of help, and I got a lot of education, and I sought out help and learned and grew from there. And that's what you've got to do. Because if we stay stuck in these patterns, then it's going to continue to present itself, and we're never going to get to that glory land on finding that food freedom and food flexibility. So if you are working on your relationship with food and any of those resonated with you and you're like, yes, I absolutely felt like you were talking to me, like I do see that in myself. I do see, out of 7 that I'm hitting 2 or 3. Keep going. You are improving your relationship with food, and that is absolutely fantastic. Of course, if you need help, we're always here for coaching, and we have a great community that if you ever want to hop on and talk and chat, we're always here. We've got tons of coaches on the teams that are here to help you and walk you through anything and everything as we navigate these healthy lives. The healthy lives are where we want to be. We want to serve better. We want to feel better, and that all starts with taking steps every single day to repair yourself, relationship, and get healthy, guys, because health is where it's at, but it's all in the way that you handle it and you go about it. And the long-term way is the way that you will absolutely, absolutely win. All right, guys, I hope this podcast was really, really helpful. It was fantastic having you here. As always, you can find all resources, guides, tools, recipes over on the website, livehillnutrition.net. We also have a weekly newsletter full of tips, tricks, guides, all of those things. Anything that you could ever need is on the newsletter. So when you go over to the website, make sure that you sign up for the newsletter for sure. Thank you for sharing this podcast. Thank you for being a part of this community. Thank you for helping other people value their health and get stronger. All right, guys, hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and we will catch up with you next time.